What if your worst childhood fear wasn't just in your imagination? What if the monster in the closet was real, and it was waiting for you to grow up? This is the story of a boy who discovered that some fears never stay buried, no matter how bright the lights are. When you're a kid, it's easy to think the world is full of shadows. Every creak in the floorboards, every gust of wind brushing against the windows feels like a warning. But for 9-year-old Ethan, those shadows weren't just in his head. He had always been afraid of the dark, terrified of the closet in his room that never seemed to stay closed. But as he grew older, he realized the thing hiding in the darkness wasn't a figment of his imagination. It was real, and it was watching him. Ethan's fear of the dark started young. His parents chalked it up to childhood anxiety. They told him there was nothing to be afraid of, that monsters weren't real. But no matter how much they reassured him, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong with his closet. The way the door never stayed latched, how it always seemed to creak open just a little bit at night. By the time Ethan turned 12, he'd grown used to sleeping with the hallway light on. He told himself he was just being silly. Kids are afraid of monsters until they realize they're not real, right? Except, every once in a while, he'd wake up in the middle of the night with the feeling that someone was watching him. He'd stare at the closet door, which always seemed just a crack open, and swear he could see a shadow moving. One night, Ethan decided to face his fear. Armed with a flashlight, he marched up to the closet and threw the door open. It was empty, just clothes and shoes. He laughed it off, feeling stupid for letting his imagination get the better of him. But as he turned to go back to bed, he swore he heard a faint whisper, "Not yet." Ethan tried to forget about the incident. He told himself it was just the wind, or maybe his tired mind playing tricks on him. For years, nothing happened. He grew up, started high school, and left behind most of his childhood fears. The hallway light stayed off now, but when Ethan turned 17, the nightmares started. In his dreams, he was back in his old room, staring at the closet. The door would creak open slowly, and a pair of glowing eyes would peer out. A voice, deep and guttural, would call his name. "Ethan, I've been waiting." The dreams left him shaken, but he didn't tell anyone. He figured they were just a manifestation of stress. That is, until the dreams started bleeding into his waking life. One evening, while studying in his room, Ethan noticed the temperature drop. His breath puffed out in little white clouds, even though the heater was on. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it, the closet door moving. It creaked open an inch, then 2. He froze, heart pounding, as a shadow slithered out and disappeared under his bed. He tried to tell his parents, but they brushed it off as overwork and lack of sleep. "You're too old to be afraid of the dark," his dad said. That night, Ethan slept with the lights on. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The breaking point came on a stormy night. Ethan was alone in the house, his parents out for the evening. The power went out, plunging the house into darkness. He grabbed a flashlight and sat on his bed, trying to calm his racing heart. And then he heard it, the closet door creaking open. He shone the flashlight toward it, but the beam flickered and died. Panic clawed at his chest as a deep voice rumbled from the shadows. "You're not a child anymore, Ethan. No more hiding under the covers." The darkness seemed to stretch out, swallowing the room. 2 glowing eyes appeared in the closet, followed by a figure that was impossibly tall and gaunt, its limbs too long for its body. Ethan tried to run, but the shadow moved faster, pinning him to the bed. "All these years, I waited. You grew up, but your fear never did." Just as he thought it was the end, the house lights flickered back on. The figure vanished, leaving behind nothing but the open closet door. Ethan never spent another night in that house. His parents thought he'd gone crazy when he refused to explain why. They sold the house not long after, but Ethan never found peace. Even in his new apartment, he avoids closets. The nightmares still come, and sometimes when the room is too dark, he swears he can hear the whisper, "I'm still waiting." Don't forget to subscribe, because the darkness is closer than you think.